This is a multi-week assignment that you'll work on during weeks 8 and 9. After you look at the unit outcomes, as well as the description, you'll notice that there's a link down here for Health Programs and Community Partnerships Grid. Please read the other content before you start on the grid, but when you click on that link, it will pull up this Word document right here, and this is what you need to submit at the end of week 9. You're not submitting anything at the end of week 8, but you are strongly encouraged to work on this first part during the week 8 portion. So you're looking at what organizations exist that provide some of the services needed by your vulnerable population, and there's two different categories within that: health programs, which is HP, and community partnerships, which is CP. Health programs are usually directly associated with our healthcare system, whereas community programs are often not affiliated. They're started by different groups, different organizations, sometimes faith-based, sometimes non-government organizations. They kind of patch in the holes that our healthcare system, or official healthcare system, doesn't address. So what you're going to do is you're going to go in and list what resources are available at the local level. You'll notice that there's quite a few spots here. You can fill in as many as you can. If there's more than this, you're welcome to put more. It doesn't need to be an exhaustive list, but if there's only, say, 2 or 3 at a certain level, you can only put what actually exists, but please make sure you're putting everything that is present. You're going to look at this in the local level first. So this is in community. That does include chapters of state or national and international organizations where there may be a chapter of that in your exact community. So please list that, put whether it is HP or CP, and then here you need to put just a bullet pointed list of other populations specifically served by the organization. So for example, if you use Catholic Community Services as one of the organizations, because you're working with refugees, that would be appropriate, but here you would list every group that Catholic Community Services works with. This is usually found on websites, but that may include low-income housing, that may include domestic violence sheltering, that type of thing. So you just put a bullet point of all of those there. And then contact information the best that you can over here. I do understand a lot of these end up being anonymous groups, like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. So at least put the information that is present. Most times there'll be a first name and a phone number. Rarely will these ever be contacted, but it's the same information that you see publicly displayed on websites. You do need to make sure you give, if it's a concrete place where there's meetings or where the facility is, please make sure you give address and phone number as well. Next, you can do that on state level. You do not relist the things that are in your community. This is things that are in the state, excluding what was in your community. Same at the national level. There's spots for a few. A lot of these end up being websites. And then international as well. Now, during week 9, you're going to interpret what you found in this week 8 assessment of what's where. And so as you come down here, you'll notice that there's a few questions that you need to address. So the first one is what gaps remain in meeting the needs of your population. And so you need to tell what gaps are there in local coverage, what gaps are in state coverage, and then are certain individuals within the population excluded or unable to access services based on age, socioeconomic status, religion, geography, etc. There's often, in these organizations, there'll be little caveats. For example, that they only provide services to women or only provide services to men, or they have to be of a certain age bracket or certain income bracket. So please make sure you go in and indicate that. Also, who can you contact about addressing and identifying gaps? Provide an exact name and contact information. These are the people that you would be able to write to for advocacy letters, which is one of the extra engagement opportunities. You found this information when you did the environmental assessment. You also went in and found people that you could write to advocacy-wise, and so this is another opportunity for you to be able to write letters advocating for your population. So you do need to give precise information, a name, contact information, including email address, for who could be contacted. These are often government representatives. Then this final part down here is worth quite a bit, so make sure you don't just blow past that one. It's if you could create an ideal organization to best meet your population's needs with unlimited funds, what would this organization do to support or advocate for your population? How and where would individuals access these resources? Services provided in the population must be evidence-based. So if you state that you would provide transportation, you'd provide housing for your population, things like that. Some of the evidence that you can use for this, it doesn't all have to be peer-reviewed journal articles. In fact, much of the evidence you're going to use will come from the resources up here in the assessment list. So if one of those, one of the resources that you listed provides small group counseling, then part of your evidence down here for why you would include small group counseling in your organization can be linked back up to that group. Now, occasionally students say that everything looks great and that there's nothing that needs improving. If you talk to any organization and you told them that they had unlimited funding, there's always something that can be done to provide more holistic care, more patient-centered care to individuals in these populations. So please make sure that you address all of this on the same document. So filling out this grid and then answering all these questions, and then submit it all by the end of week 9.